Have you ever heard of a love story that started in the most unexpected way? Imagine two cats who at first glance had nothing in common, but ended up proving that love can blossom in the most unpredictable moments. Today, you'll meet Daddy and Mommy, two felines who turned their lives into a true tale of affection and resilience. Don't look away, because this story will warm your heart in ways you never expected. At the animal shelter where the story unfolds, the atmosphere was a blend of hope and melancholy. On one side was Daddy, an imposing cat with jet-black fur so shiny it seemed to reflect the dim light of the shelter's bulbs. His yellow eyes held a deep, ancient gaze, as if they were keepers of long-forgotten secrets. Daddy was known as the shelter's veteran. Every day, he watched other cats find homes. He no longer made an effort to draw attention. When someone approached, he would simply observe calmly, as if he already knew he wouldn't be chosen. It wasn't that he was hostile, he just seemed resigned to what felt inevitable. The shelter staff admired his composed demeanor and lovingly called him the philosopher. They said he was wise, as though he had lived many lives before this one. On the other side of the shelter lived Mommy, a small, agile, and vocal cat. Her white fur was speckled with gray patches that looked as though they had been painted by an artist's brush. Mommy was the star of the place, always chasing paper balls, climbing shelves, and, of course, charming everyone who passed by. Her purr was so loud it could be heard from across the room, especially when she received attention or a special treat. To Mommy, each day was a new opportunity to explore and have fun. She enjoyed playing with the staff and could even coax a smile from visitors who arrived at the shelter feeling down. Despite all her energy and joy, Mommy also had her lonely nights. When the shelter's lights were turned off and the place fell silent, even her bravery seemed to wane. Curiously, Daddy and Mommy had never interacted. Daddy stayed in an area reserved for older cats, while Mommy, with her youthful energy, occupied the busier spaces. They lived as if they belonged to different worlds, separated by more than just bars. It was hard to imagine their stories ever intertwining. Everything changed on what seemed like an ordinary night. Outside, the weather began to shift. Dark clouds covered the sky, and soon a violent storm broke over the city. The wind howled and thunder rumbled, making the shelter's walls tremble. Suddenly, a lightning strike hit a nearby transformer, cutting off all the power. The shelter, once warmed by comforting lights, was plunged into cold darkness. Mommy, who had always seemed fearless, began to shrink in her cage. Her usually curious eyes were now wide with fear, reflecting every flash of lightning. She meowed softly, seeking comfort, but no one came. The staff were busy ensuring the animal's safety, and the room was eerily quiet, except for the occasional crackle of rain and Mommy's timid meows. On the other side, Daddy noticed something different. He, who was used to keeping his distance, became alert to the sound of distressed meows. It wasn't common for him to stir at night, but something about this situation moved him. Daddy approached the bars of his cage, peering toward Mommy. Finally, the staff decided to open some of the cages to allow the cats more freedom of movement until the power returned. Daddy, without hesitation, walked slowly toward the corner where Mommy was. She watched him with a mix of wariness and curiosity. Daddy stopped a short distance away, sat down, and remained silent, as if waiting for an unspoken permission. Mommy, initially cautious, realized he posed no threat. Perhaps it was the warmth of his presence or the tranquility of his movements, but she allowed Daddy to come closer. He nestled beside her, offering his body heat like a blanket in the cold. For the first time, Mommy didn't feel alone in the darkness. That night, something shifted between the two of them. The shelter, so accustomed to stories of animals leaving for new lives alone, began to witness the birth of a unique and unexpected bond. What had started as just another stormy night became the beginning of something special, and neither of the two cats knew their lives would never be the same again. It's turning into a really cool story, isn't it? Leave a comment and let me know what you think. Don't worry, stay with me, because the story is still going on, and there's lots of exciting stuff coming up. After that stormy night, Daddy and Mommy began to seek each other's company. At first, their connection seemed subtle, almost as if they were merely temporary companions, but the days that followed revealed something much deeper. Daddy, once distant and reserved, now allowed himself to explore the shelter alongside Mommy. He followed her calmly while she darted around, always full of energy. Mommy loved to play with anything she could find, from paper balls to bottle caps. Her curiosity was boundless. One day, as she chased a leaf that had blown in with the wind, she tripped and rolled across the floor, making a noise that would normally scare any other cat. Daddy, watching closely, approached her, and to everyone's surprise, used his paw to play with the same leaf. That scene moved the shelter staff. They had never seen Daddy interact so spontaneously. Little by little, Daddy and Mommy began sharing moments that went beyond play. Mommy, always restless, had the habit of waking up before dawn to walk around the shelter. Daddy, noticing this pattern, started to accompany her. Together, they watched the faint light of the rising sun filtering through the windows. Mommy would lean against him while Daddy observed the world outside with his serene gaze. It seemed that with Mommy by his side, Daddy had finally found peace. On the other hand, Mommy, who had never had the patience to wait for anything, began to learn the value of stillness from Daddy. When the staff brought food, she used to be one of the first to run to the bowls. Now, however, she waited for Daddy to rise and walked alongside him, as if to ensure he had his space too. It was a silent exchange, but full of meaning. One day, a group of children visited the shelter. They were excited, and their laughter echoed through the walls. While some played with the other cats, a little girl named Clara, with curly hair and curious eyes, approached Daddy and Mommy. She was enchanted to see them together, curled up in a corner. Carefully, she extended her hand to pet them. Mommy purred immediately, while Daddy, usually more cautious, also allowed himself to enjoy the affection. The staff noticed the interaction and, for the first time, began to imagine that Daddy and Mommy could be adopted together. It was rare for people to want to take two cats at once, but their bond was so evident that separating them seemed unthinkable. Weeks passed, and Daddy and Mommy became inseparable. They shared the same bed, played with the same toys, and even protected each other when a more boisterous cat approached. Daddy, who once avoided confrontations, now showed a protective side when Mommy needed it. He would stand by her, staring down any cat that tried to bother her, and his presence alone was enough to keep the peace. Mommy, in turn, became the guardian of Daddy's heart. Whenever he seemed to retreat into his introspective state, she would nudge him with her nose, as if to remind him that he was no longer alone. In response, Daddy would gently lick her head, a gesture that, for him, meant more than any words could. Then, on a cold autumn day, the shelter doors opened once more. A couple entered, looking for a cat to adopt. They were searching for a companion to bring joy to their home, but didn't expect to find something so special. As they walked past the cages, their eyes fixed on Daddy and Mommy, who were together as always. "Look at these two," said the man, pointing at the cats. The woman, as she approached, was immediately captivated. "They're inseparable," commented one of the staff. "We've never seen a bond like this." The couple watched for a few minutes and soon realized they couldn't take just one. Daddy and Mommy were like puzzle pieces, incomplete without the other. They needed a home where they could stay together, and the couple decided they would be the new guardians of both. The farewell at the shelter was an emotional moment. The staff, who had witnessed the entire journey of Daddy and Mommy, were both happy and sad. But seeing the cats leave together, they knew it was the best decision. Daddy and Mommy were ready to start a new chapter, now as part of a family that would love and care for them as they deserved. In the arms of the couple, Daddy and Mommy left the shelter for a new life. The sky, which had witnessed so many storms, now shone with a timid sun, as if it too wanted to celebrate the moment. Daddy and Mommy, together, were finally heading to the home they had always dreamed of, even though in their own hearts, they had already found one in each other. Hey, are you enjoying this story? That's so cool. Let's keep going, but before we do, I noticed you haven't left a like on this video yet. It's really important because that way, YouTube will keep showing you our cute kitten stories. And with that, we'll keep bringing you more exciting stories. So don't forget to leave your like, okay? Thanks. When Papa and Mama arrived at their new home, the scene was quite different from the shelter. The walls were a soft and welcoming shade, and the large windows allowed sunlight to fill the space. There was a big, soft bed in the corner of the room, covered in colorful and cozy cushions, and a huge pile of toys scattered across the floor. The place was a paradise for two cats, who, not long ago, had lived confined in a shelter. But despite all the new luxuries and the endless space to explore, something even more important was happening. Papa and Mama were together. Their bond, already unbreakable, now grew even stronger, as they both knew they had found a place where they could be themselves, without fear or loneliness. Soon, Papa began to get used to the new schedules and routines. He loved sleeping on sunny afternoons, stretching out on the soft rugs, but every now and then, Mama would come running up to him and pull him into a game. While she rolled around on the floor with her paper balls and rope toys, Papa would watch, but now, instead of staying distant, he would join in the fun. He no longer had that cold, distant look. His face was softened by the joy of daily play and Mama's constant affection. He would laugh in his peculiar cat way and enjoy her antics, while also keeping a watchful eye on her, like a guardian. Mama, in turn, began to feel more and more comfortable and secure by Papa's side. She discovered that her energy, which always led her to run to every corner, could be shared in a quieter way. Together, they explored the house, but at the same time, they found small hideaways, places where they could rest and simply be next to each other. The living room couch, with its big cushion, became their favorite spot, where afternoons passed slowly, with Mama lying on Papa's legs while he watched the movement outside. The human couple who adopted them, always caring and attentive, were enchanted by the unusual bond between the two cats. They began to understand the importance of keeping Papa and Mama together and made sure they had everything they needed. Fresh food, new toys, and even a double bed where they could sleep side by side. And of course, like any good home, trips to the vet became more frequent to ensure they lived a healthy and adventurous life. But it wasn't just the material comfort that made the difference. The house was filled with laughter and conversation, but also with quiet moments full of meaning. At night, when everyone went to sleep, Papa and Mama would snuggle in the corner of the human's bed, lying together like two perfect pieces of a puzzle. The human couple, always with a smile, would look at them and feel in their hearts the gratitude for having decided to adopt those two cats, for having understood that, for Papa and Mama, the only way to be complete was to be together. And so their love unfolded gently, as if it were a story that never needed an end. The house filled with laughter, affection, and moments of pure happiness. Papa and Mama taught their new humans something very valuable, that true love is not measured by time or circumstances, but by the ability to care, protect, and be present in the simplest moments. As the months passed, the human couple realized that by adopting Papa and Mama, they were not just giving a home to two cats. They were receiving something much greater in return: loyalty, patience, and of course, true friendship, which is built in the most unexpected moments. Papa and Mama, in their simplicity and unconditional love, had transformed the couple's life in ways they had never imagined. Each exchanged glance between the cats, every gentle purr, and every act of affection was a reminder that love is the greatest gift we can give and receive. The story of Papa and Mama, of how two cats from such different worlds came together and changed their lives forever, was kept in the couple's heart and became part of their own story. After all, what matters most in life if not love? And so they continued together, living happily, always remembering that in the most unlikely moments, love can bloom and transform the world around them. What did you think of this beautiful story? Personally, I loved the moment when Daddy, who was once so solitary and serious, approaches Mommy during the storm, offering comfort and warmth. It's amazing how such a simple gesture can transform everything. Tell us in the comments which part you liked the most and why. We're excited to hear your opinion. If you liked this story, don't forget to leave a like and tell everyone. Subscribe to the channel for more amazing adventures of our cute little cats. Comment below and tell me what you think. Your opinion is really important to us. Come join our group of cat lovers and help spread smiles and cuteness around.